going to explain how all these three-letter companies affect the resale price of your cards in the eyes of the hobby, and we're starting right now. So let's dig in. Welcome to the Football Card Quest. My name is Andy. Now, if this is your first time here, you want to learn all about graded cards, investing in football cards, flipping, collecting, all other really cool football card stuff, make sure you hit that subscribe button, that little bell notification icon so you don't miss anything. Alright, so first, let's go over the most iconic three-letter grading companies in the hobby today. PSA is the most respected grader as of today and has developed a reputation of being like that teacher who's a little looser when it comes to the rule book. They were more lenient on centering for a while because they were doing it using regular old human eyes for so long. Now they have cold, heartless machines that scan cards, take super high-res photos, and use special software to help detect off-centering, surface flaws, and other imperfections, just like all the other major grading companies do now. Simply put, getting a PSA 10 isn't as easy as it used to be. PSA did away with all their value submission packages a while back when they had to shut down due to the modern sports card boom. The cheapest option as of spring 2022 is $50 per card with a declared value of up to $999, assuming you get lucky enough to submit any, since they're currently using a lottery system with a cap on how many you can send in. If the declared value goes over $999 after grading, they'll bump you up into the appropriate pricing category, potentially costing you additional $50, $100, $200. And if you guess that means you're actually having to pay more before you actually get that card back, you know PSA better than you thought. By contrast, in 2019, when you could submit a bulk ordered PSA for roughly $10 per card, shout out to our man David Hunter for compiling this data from PSA's database on how likely you are to get a 10, notated by the green line for any given year of card. As you can see, rates of getting a 10 are currently about 50%, which is a coin toss, mind you. Now, this has gone up from the 80s and 90s, as you can see. However, cards manufactured after 2015 have gone down. This is partly due to more and more cards being manufactured, pushing major manufacturers like Panini in 2020 to focus more on quantity over quality, manufacturing 53 different sets and hundreds of thousands of cards each year. Then you also have more people submitting for grading to flip the 10s for a profit. This also does not take into account the cards that were submitted but not pre-graded properly, i.e. was it carefully inspected on all four criteria before submitting: the corners, the edges, the surface, and the centering? Or was it just a collector simply wanting to encapsulate their card regardless of the condition? Or was it just someone not good at pre-grading in general, but still doing it for a potential financial upside? In today's investment market, 9s and anything below just don't cut it and flat out are not worth it for most cards. There is certainly a benefit to getting the most elite players' iconic rookie cards. Think about all the greats like the Tall Boy Joe Namath, the Jim Brown rookie card, the Walter Payton rookie card, the 1986 Topps Jerry Rice, the 2000 Bowman Tom Brady, the 2017 Contenders rookie ticket auto Patrick Mahomes, and the 2005 Topps Chrome Aaron Rodgers, just to name a few. However, eBay is changing the game. They've seen this in the marketplace and they've changed the game as of just a couple months ago. They now offer an authenticity guarantee on raw cards over $750. This is backed by professional graders and technology at CSG, Certified Sports Guarantee. They are backed by the same ownership and senior management team behind NGC, PMG, and CGC, the world's leading and largest coin, paper money, and comic book certification services. So extremely legit. And eBay will fully refund your money instantly if CSG inspects the card and it is deemed fake or altered. Otherwise, on all these modern, ultra-modern cards, using Justin Herbert's Optic Holo as an example, because he's a very hyped up player, he sells very well right now. Also, a lot of his cards have been submitted to various grading companies to be graded. You can see there is very little, if any, difference in the sold value. Anything less than a 9 on an ultra modern card that look like this will almost always sell for less than a raw one. In fact, I could not find any SGC, BGS, or CSG 8 solds of this card in the last 90 days.
Wow.
So what does that tell you? People either just don't want them or they are cracking them at home and listing them as raw. Now, be sure to watch this video to the end because I want you to tell me which grading service you believe is worth it in the long run. And if you're enjoying the video, make sure you give us a thumbs up. Let that YouTube algorithm know we're doing a good job. SGC grading. The cheapest option is $30 for a declared value up to $1,500, and they stick to their turnaround times of 20 to 25 business days. I've got personal experience in this. In fact, many customers get their cards back before that. SGC sticks to a motto of under-promising and over-delivering, and if you've got a shiny card of any kind, they'll look pretty slick with SGC's Tuxedo look. They also offer professional photograph proofs that you can use in listing your cards, and they give you a grading database, a pop report. BGS has pretty much shut down all their services except for Express and Premium. Express, no subgrades, is $100 per card. Express with subgrades is $150 per card. Now, CSG is an interesting one because it's worth noting that they've recently changed their grading scale so that all of their cards that were previously 9.5s are now 10s, and they also have greatly improved the design of their label. It looks a lot more like an SGC label now. And they do have some interesting grading price tiers, and obviously they're backed by the largest paper and coin grading companies in the world. So it is possible with this new label, grading tiers at $12 per card for a 50 card minimum and getting the cards back within 45 business days, approximately 2 months, could be a very interesting proposition. Their typical single card submission is $30 like SGC, and it's a 15 business day turnaround time, so very comparable and similar to SGC. Typically the CSG slabs that we do see in the marketplace, the few of them that are there, the solds, you can still see raw cards going for as much as the 9s, but now that the 9.5s become 10s, I foresee that the CSG 10s will become closer and closer to the SGC 10s, and they'll kind of be comparable as that third place grading company in the market. All right, we're gonna cover one last important point about the world of graded cards, but after we do, I'm gonna put a list of videos right over here, guys, that you can check out about other cards to invest in, pick up, possibly some cards that you can send into one of these grading companies. It's important to note that 10s are extremely difficult to come by from an HGA or BGS and a CSG prior to them changing their grading scale. Usually you'll find the BGS 9.5s are equal to that of an SGC 10 and somewhere between a PSA 9 and PSA 10, but certainly more than a raw card. In some cases, depending on the rarity of the card, a BGS 9.5 is very similar to that of a PSA 10. Bottom line is this: if you want a greater chance of scoring a 10 on your card that you're thinking about submitting to get graded, you've got to thoroughly inspect the surface, the corners, the edges, and the centering. Ultimately, you're looking at PSA, SGC, or now CSG as your best bet. Now, if you're not concerned about the profit at all, you simply want to encapsulate your card for your collection and put it in a slab, then feel free to test out any of these startup grading companies that you see out there, the Pure Graded X's, the Revolution Grading, the Transparent Grading Team, the so forth and so on. But ultimately, if you could get a 10 with CSG with the new label and only spend $12 to get it, it would be well worth your while. Honestly, for $30 at SGC or potentially $50 at PSA and getting a 10, it would be well worth your while. But as you can see in all cases, getting a 9 is just no bueno, guys.
Oh, great Scott!
So ultimately, it is a risk to get your card graded, because if it doesn't come back as a 10, then for investment purposes, it is more or less a failed venture. And anything less than a 9 is just, for investment purposes, is honestly, you gotta crack it and sell it raw. So for me, I would personally only get a card graded for investment purposes if it's a QB and or a very rare card from a skill position player that you have thoroughly pre-graded yourself or scanned into a pre-grading software like FGScards.com. You know, when I did that, I scanned in 10 cards and sent them to SGC, the best grades from FGS cards, and I came back with about half of my cards as SGC 10s and some 9s and 9.5s. At the end of the day, flipping a raw card is just as good as flipping a 9, but without the added expense or time of having to send it in. So honestly, all in all, guys, and you've seen me break this down in other videos, buying raw low and selling raw high is the way to go for most people because it is very viable. It's just as liquid. Your percentage of increase, your percentage of ROI is just the same as if that were a 9 or 9.5 or a 10. You know, obviously you're just dealing with lower values. So if you're getting the 10, then that's going to add significant value to your bottom line. If you're not getting the 10, then you probably cost yourself more time and money than what is going to be profitable. Honestly, at the end of the day, if you make sure you take great photos of your raw card, provide good customer service with full transparency on any defects or flaws in the card, and you provide prompt shipping, you properly package your items, and do all the things that we've talked about in other videos, then you will be successful. I'm curious to hear, guys, which questions this has raised for you when it comes to grading cards and the potential values you can see it add to the card that you're getting. I look forward to seeing you next time on the Football Card Quiz. Peace. One of the crown jewels of my collection right here, and I'm glad it's not worthless. I'm also glad I got a 6.5. I was fairly impressed. You know, I kept this since I was a kid, so I was afraid that it did get in pretty bad shape over all the years. 6.5 is not bad for having this since I was a kid and it being locked away in an attic all that time. But my dad, he took good care of most of the cards. Most of them. I wouldn't say most of them. He's a good man, though. He's the OG, the case and OG on the Football Card Quest. Got me into it back in the 90s. He also helped the comeback card investor get to quite a few card shows back in the 90s. May have motivated and inspired him to be so heavy into it as well. Him and I used to ride our bikes up to sports card shops in the 90s and do trading, you know. But the cards were worthless then. There wouldn't have been shops. People wouldn't have shops. We couldn't have gone to them to you know, even trade the cards. So card manufacturers wouldn't be in business if there wasn't money to be made for them. They've got to generate a profit as well. So everybody needs to generate a profit, but they also have to balance out those core values of friendship, you know, treating other people the way you want to be treated, you know, putting out that good karma so you get good things in return, and just overall making the hobby a better place, making the game a better place, making the world a better place. It all, you know, it all meshes together nicely when you balance it out. But it's important to have hobby, collecting, and investment monetary side. Gotta have them both, guys. Gotta have them both, or there'd be a huge imbalance, and it would collapse. It would collapse, and we wouldn't have a hobby anymore. And you want a hobby. You want a hobby, all right? So be thankful, collectors, for the investors, and investors be a little bit more of a collector. If you are strictly looking at it as the money aspect, make sure you also consider the hobby and the collecting aspect of it as well. See you next time, guys. Peace.